Have you ever wondered why some people, some organizations, can achieve things that completely defy the odds, while others who have the same resources fall short? Let me give you an example. Why is Apple so innovative? Year after year, they're more creative than their competition. They're just a computer company. They have the same access to talent, the same agencies, the same media, the same consultants. So why do they consistently stand out? Here's another example. Why is it that Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. And he certainly wasn't the only great orator. So why him? And how about the Wright brothers? Why did they manage to figure out controlled, powered, manned flight when there were others more qualified, better funded, and better connected? Yet, they did it. There's something else at play here. Something deeper. Something we can all learn from. And I call it the golden circle. Imagine 3 circles like a target. The outer circle is what? The middle one is how. And in the center, the bullseye is why. Every single person, every organization on the planet knows what they do. That's easy. Some know how they do it. Maybe it's their proprietary process or their unique selling point. But very, very few know why they do what they do. And I don't mean to make money. That's a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose, your cause, your belief? Why do you exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Most people and organizations think, act, and communicate from the outside in. They start with what, move to how, and rarely touch why. But the inspired ones, the ones who lead, they operate in the exact opposite way. They start from the inside out. They start with why. And when you start with why, something amazing happens. People don't just buy what you do. They believe what you believe. And that changes everything. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand, and we all know them. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. Are beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? That's how most people communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales are done. We say what we do, how we're different, how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, support. But it doesn't work all that well. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo, believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? It's totally different, right? You're ready to buy one. You don't even know if it's a computer, a phone, or a tablet. That's because Apple communicates from the inside out. They start with why. It's not just about computers. Apple is just a company like any other. But everything they do proves what they believe. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But you're also comfortable buying an MP3 player, a phone, or a watch from them. Heck, you might buy sneakers if they made them. But would you buy an MP3 player from Dell? Would you buy a phone from HP? Probably not. Even though they might be more qualified in certain areas, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. When a company communicates its beliefs clearly, and those beliefs match what you believe, that's when loyalty is born. And that's the real power of starting with why. There's a biological reason for all this too, not psychology biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain from top down, it maps perfectly to the golden circle. Our newest brain, the Homo sapien brain, is the neocortex. It's responsible for rational and analytical thought and language. It's the part of the brain that understands facts and figures. The middle 2 sections make up our limbic brains, and they're responsible for all our feelings like trust, loyalty, and decision-making. They also have no capacity for language. So when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information, but it doesn't drive behavior. But when we communicate from the inside out, starting with why we re-talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we give people the rational language to back it up. That's why we say people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Let me show you the law of diffusion of innovation. It explains everything. If you don't know this law, you're probably already familiar with its terminology. 2.5% of the population are innovators, 13.5% are early adopters, 34% are early majority, 34% are late majority, and 16% are laggards. The only reason laggards buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. The point is, we all sit somewhere on this scale. The early majority won't try something until someone else has tried it first. But the innovators and early adopters, they just buy it because they believe in it. They're driven by why. They don't need all the facts and figures. You just need to feel like you believe what they believe. Here's the problem most companies face. They hit the tipping point between 15% and 18% market penetration, and can seem to go beyond. Why? Because that's when they need to appeal to the early majority, and those people need proof before they'll act. But if you talk about what you believe, and you attract people who believe what you believe, then you gain the ability to cross the chasm. You gain mass market success. That's what Apple does. They don't just sell computers, they sell a belief. That's what Martin Luther King did. That's what the Wright brothers did. They inspired others who believed the same thing. Let me tell you about the Wright brothers. No college education, no money, no government support, but they had a dream, a belief that man could fly. Meanwhile, Samuel Pierpont Langley had all the advantages. He worked for the government, had funding, and a team of top minds. But he was in it for the fame and the money. He wanted to be rich and famous. But the Wright brothers, every time they crashed, they got back up. Not because it was easy, but because they believed in something bigger. And on December 17th, 1903, they took flight. Langley quit the next day. Why? Because he wasn't in it for the why. Martin Luther King gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change. He said, I believe. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and made it their own. And it wasn't just black Americans. It was people of all colors, backgrounds, and faiths. Because he gave them something to believe in. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. What you do simply proves what you believe. Start with why. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey into the power of purpose, inspired by the words of Simon Sinek, and the simple, profound idea to start with why. If this message resonated with you, if it sparked a new way of thinking, then pass it on. Because the more we lead with why, the more we inspire those around us,